so you're ready to step up in your career without getting a new job. In this video, we're going to talk about how to talk to your supervisor about career growth within your organization. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Preston, author of Harness Your Butterflies and creator of the Career Accelerator program. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I have new videos every Tuesday. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me know that you're here. Let me know what you think of this video. Okay, so let's jump into it. I have 5 tips or 5, process steps to get you from where you are to where you feel like you're moving forward in your career. And figuring out how to talk to your boss about career growth, because a lot of us assume that our organizations would like us to grow, and indeed they do, but a lot of times they don't take any formal action to actually make that happen. So in this video, we're going to talk about what are the steps that you need to take to kind of get your career moving within your organization, especially if you like working there, figuring out how to get that career growth right now, immediately. Let's jump into the tips. Okay, so tip number 1 is identify where you want to go. A lot of professionals will go to their supervisor and say, hey, I need you to tell me where I should be growing my career, or I need you to tell me how do I move up in this company. But a lot of times that approach is a little bit backwards. So figure out where you want to go in your career long term. It doesn't have to be 30 years in the future, but just in the next 2 to 5 years, where do you see yourself? If you don't see yourself at this company, don't bring that up to your boss. But really what you want to do is figure out what is the thing that's exciting to you, or that when you think about it or when you work on it, it really lights you up inside. That's going to be the stuff that you want to figure out. So that's going to be the first step before you even think about talking to your boss, is identify where you want to go. And I call that the excitement principle. When you think about like your strengths, the thing that you're good at, what are the things that light you up inside that you could spend all day working on it without even thinking about it? A lot of people will leave this step to their employer, and I will guarantee you that if you ask your boss, where do I go in the next 2 years, 3 years, you're not gonna like where you end up, because you're not part of the process of actually creating or sculpting that experience at this organization. So step number 1 is identify where you wanna go. Step number 2, before you talk to your supervisor, is plan to be self-reliant. What that means is a lot of organizations will say, this is how you can get to where you want to go, especially if you pose the question, how do I grow my career? A lot of them will say, do step 1, do step 2, do step 3, do step 4, and they won't necessarily, most organizations won't give you the actual resources that you need to get to that level. So plan before you even get to the conversation with your supervisor. Plan on setting your expectations to be that you will be the one actively doing a lot of the work to get this to go. And it does make sense because it is your career, but don't plan on like a formal learning and development program, or don't plan on conferences, or don't plan on a lot of the things that you might in your head think that your organization should be doing for you. Most organizations would love to do that, but in reality, they don't. So plan on being self-reliant, set your expectations to be sort of on the you side of the equation versus the organization side of the equation, and then you'll be set. Step number 3, you're almost ready to have your conversation with your supervisor, is to identify opportunities and research. So we've gone through this process of figuring out where you want to go, setting your expectations and making sure that you're kind of in line. And now it's time to say, okay, I know where I want to go. Here are some options that might be helpful. I could go to this conference. I could take this course. I could work with this person. I could have this sort of rotational working schedule. Whatever that looks like, whatever options or opportunities or things that when you think about them, you get really excited. Think about that. It could be a sabbatical. It could be, I'm going to take a 2-week sabbatical to do something. Whatever options that you can come up with, or even do some research online. What are other organizations offering? If it is a formal learning and development program, what courses within that are you willing to take? If it's an offsite retreat, if it's, stepping up and doing more work that you weren't planning on doing when you started your performance review, whatever that looks like, identify the concrete opportunities. And then when you have your conversation with your supervisor, have that list ready. So let's jump into the next tip. Okay, so step number 4 is when you actually have your conversation with your manager. So what this will look like is you will send an email or text or whatever, let your manager know, hey, I'm going to schedule a meeting with you, and it's going to be face to face. I know that a lot of us are remote now, but face to face, where I actually want to sit and have a video conference with you or a sit down coffee with you, and I want to actually talk to you about my career growth. And don't leave it ominous. Make sure to give them as much information as you can. So something might look like this. Hey supervisor, I've been thinking a lot about my career trajectory and I really like staying at this company. Can we sit down and have a 30-minute conversation about my career growth and possible options for developing my career in the next 3 to 6 months? And I would make sure that you put in there the dates, because if you say, I want to do it in the next 2 years, or I want to do it in the next year, it will never happen. So if you say, can we talk about opportunities in the next 3 months? Can we talk about opportunities in the next 6 months? Because that's a lot easier and more tangible for a lot of managers to actually activate and give you what you're looking for. Okay, so within this step, you're preparing for this conversation, you've done all the research, you found opportunities, you're ready to have your conversation with your manager, you set the meeting up, and now you're actually having this conversation with your manager. I would make sure, this is tip number 5, be open to whatever they say. So you might have in your mind that you want to do all of these different components and you did all this research and you did all this stuff leading up to it. If your manager says, hey, have you thought about this? Make sure that you're not so tunnel vision that you're not open to hearing other possibilities, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the world. There might be some initiative at your organization that you've never heard of before that you're like, actually, that sounds really, really cool. I want to do that. So tip number 5 is be open to the different opportunities that exist within your organization. Okay, so at the end of all of this, you want to be able to take your career development, your career growth, and own it. You never, never, never want to give your organization complete reign over your career development, because the honest truth is you probably won't be at your organization for the rest of your career. So you want to make sure that you're able to sculpt your own experience and figure out how to pull the resources of the organization to make sure that you are successful in the long run. So those are the 5 tips that I have for how to talk to your boss about career growth. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I have new videos every Tuesday, so I will see